What's up guys, CarVisionLA here. So as you guys probably know, I own an Alfa Romeo Giulia, but today we have an Alfa Romeo that is a totally different animal, and here she is, the Alfa Romeo 4C. Today we're going to take a deep dive into this car. I'm going to show you around it, we're going to take it for a spin, so let's get right into it. So let's take a look at the 4C's exterior. As you can see, this is distinctively an Alfa Romeo. You've got your triangular Alfa Romeo grille, your Alfa Romeo logo. It's smaller than the Giulia and the Stelvio's grille, but it's still the triangular Alfa Romeo grille. You can't mistake it for any other car. The headlights are oblong. They've got some carbon fiber accents inside. It says 4C right here, which is a really nice touch. It's got some cool LED daytime running lights that really give the car an aggressive look, especially in this black color. When it's going down the road. Then you've got your carbon fiber accented mirror caps right here. I'm not sure if this is real carbon fiber. It doesn't look to be real carbon fiber, but it is a nice touch, especially it looks good with this black paint. Coming around to the back, you've got your engine. You can see it on display. This is a 1.7 liter 4-cylinder engine, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but this trunk right here actually doubles as the engine cover. So when you open the trunk, which I'll show you in a second, you actually open the engine and it doesn't stay up on its own. You have to pull up the engine, the hood stand, and then actually prop it up. But this trunk is really small. This massive air intake right here, so air is sucked in, it's channeled back to cool the engine or to be sucked into the engine. Right here, if you open up the door, this car has a carbon fiber monocoque, which is why this is so quick, yet they can put a 4-cylinder engine, a relatively small displacement 4-cylinder engine. Like I said, it's a 1.7 liter, but this is all carbon fiber. This whole car is a carbon fiber monocoque, which makes it really light. It's like 2,600 pounds. I'll put the exact weight somewhere around here, but this is a very, very light car and basically one of its claims to fame. So one funny thing about the Alfa Romeo 4C is what goes on right here. So on most mid-engine sports cars, you got your engine in the back and then your trunk underneath the hood, which is called the front because it's in the front. But on this car, the trunk is behind the engine. So what's under where the front should be? Well, this is actually nothing. Since the bumper is plastic and the hood is metal, Alfa Romeo can't have a continuous slab right here, so they have a panel gap right here. So it looks like there's something under here, but there really isn't, which is an interesting fact. Overall, this is a very distinctive Italian styling. I mean, it doesn't look like any other car. You could definitely tell it's an Italian car with its circular rear lights right here, dual exhaust. This thing sounds really good for a 4-cylinder, which I'll show you in a second. But overall, this car definitely does draw some attention. I've been driving it around for the last few hours and people do look. Now, because this car is so low to the ground, getting out of it is not the same as your typical car. You open the door, but then you have to go like, there we go. Now this thing is seriously low to the ground. So this is the interior of the Alfa Romeo 4C. It's very simplistic. This is a driver's car. There are really no bells and whistles. You got a very simple steering wheel right here. It's got no buttons. Your gauge cluster is fully digital. It's got some carbon accents around it. It's pretty small though. This is your infotainment screen. It's actually aftermarket. This car doesn't come with any screens or infotainment features really from the factory. So the owner actually installed this aftermarket. Right here you got your your gear shifter. It's got 4 buttons. It's got an R, A/M, N, and 1. I'm actually not sure what 1 stands for, but the AM stands for automatic manual mode. R is reverse, neutral, N is neutral, obviously. Right here you got your seats. They're very, very thin. You got your Alfa Romeo logo on the seats, but these are not the most comfortable seats. They're not power seats either. But then you got no glove box. You got your Alfa 4C logo, an Alfa Romeo logo right here, but the closest thing to a glove box you have is this thing right here, which is a small compartment where you could put your stuff right in the wall of the car. So be sure to pack light when coming in this car. You got a small cup holder here and a small cup holder there, and then a cigarette lighter phone charger port. Right here is where you change your driving modes. It's got a USB port, power mirrors, windows, and then your climate control right here. Other than that, yeah, this is a very simplistic, bare interior. So powering the 4C, we've got a 1.7 liter 4-cylinder engine producing 237 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. That doesn't sound like a lot, but this car is really, really light because of all that carbon fiber. So this thing does 0 to 60 in like 4.3 to 4.5 seconds. It's really, really quick. It has a dual clutch transmission. This thing has an incredible exhaust. Sounds so good for a 4-cylinder car. Take a listen. Now let's go for a ride. So because of weight savings, this car has absolutely no power steering. So at low speeds, this thing is like seriously hard to remove. Try making a 3-point turn in this car, but once you get up to high speeds, it feels like normal. But when you're like trying to parallel park or trying to get out of a tight spot or trying to back into your driveway, your parking spot or garage, yeah, this thing is. This thing takes 2 hands. Normally I could just flip it with one. You know, I've driven some pretty cool sports cars in the past, but this thing's got absolutely no power steering whatsoever, which is, it's really tough. So to drive this car, it's not like your typical automatic PRND or even your typical dual clutch car. You put down the parking brake, of course, and the car is in neutral. So all you got to do is put the paddle, the plus paddle, into first gear, and then it does have an automatic mode, but that's no fun and it's not very good. So I recommend driving this car in manual mode. So you press the AM button right here. Now it's in manual mode and you are off. But you have to shift the car yourself with the paddle shifters, which means downshifting and upshifting. You get used to it after a while. It's actually pretty fun and engaging. It's a very quick transmission. Let's get out of here to see how this baby drives. So now I'm going about 9 miles per hour. The steering is a lot easier and it's very, very precise. This car just goes wherever you want it to go. This car is a sports car. It's built for handling, built for the canyons, built for the track. So you would expect that from a car like this. So now I'm slowing down. I'm at a complete stop. I got to check to see about traffic and see, oh man, that steering definitely does give you an arm workout. Who needs to go to the gym? Just buy an Alpha 4C. Now, upshift like that. Upshift again, and there you go. Very loud in this cabin. It's even louder if you roll down the windows. Sorry if you can't hear me that well, but definitely hear the car. The engine's right behind you. The visibility is not very good at all. You know, you got a little window right here and then your rear view mirror, but you're basically just looking out the back, the window that's kind of facing upwards because it covers the engine. It's kind of it's got a low slung, you know, supercar Grand Tour type proportion. So the windshield, the back windshield, unlike your SUV, is not, or your sedan, is not, is pointed up to the sky at a higher angle. So this car has huge blind spots. The visibility isn't too great. So thank God the owner installed a backup camera on this vehicle. Another thing you notice when driving this car is that the suspension is so rough. I mean, this thing is made for sports driving only, but I thought the suspension in my Giulia was rough. This thing is on a completely different level. Crossed the double yellow just for science, and no one was there, by the way, so don't try that at home, kids. But yeah, this thing has some seriously rough suspension. You feel literally everything in the road and more. Things you never even knew existed in the road, you feel in this car. You got a downshift and see the throttle blips, which is pretty cool. You see that on a lot of supercars. This car is no exception. I'm in dynamic mode right now, which is the most aggressive mode. Really take advantage of this engine. It opens this car up. It really makes it come alive. It's an absolute blast to drive. Now sitting here at idle, you know, you hear a lot of the car. It's not very sound insulated. This car is all about weight savings. That's why you could put such a small engine in it and make it so fast. All right, here we go. That was great, man. It's hard to believe this thing. It's hard to believe this thing is a 4-cylinder. This thing doesn't feel like a 4-cylinder whatsoever. But you know, Hold on, this thing's got a giant blind spot, so you gotta always double check to see if you're changing lanes into someone. There we go. You can hear the turbos very clearly. It's quite fun, but this thing is really, really loud, especially cruising at 70 miles per hour. I feel like I gotta yell because I'm not sure how much noise this camera's picking up, but there's quite a bit of noise. But you know, you feel really connected to the road because this car is very, very low to the ground. This car is really fun to drive on the street as long as you don't have to change lanes. But sitting in traffic, yeah, this car definitely does grab some attention. People don't know what it is. You don't see a lot of these around.
Not when you're next to this guy.
Yeah, you got two relatively obscure cars right next to each other. We got to get away from this notion of comfort because you know, this car is not a daily driver. We've established that. It's a sports car. It's meant to be driven hard. It's meant to be garaged during the week, and you take it out on the weekends. You have your fun with it, and then you go back to your daily driver. But the days that you do drive this car, man, it is quite an experience. It is special. It is distinct. It's obscure, and it's a unique experience that you'll never forget driving the Alfa Romeo 4C. Well, guys, that's going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. This car is an absolute blast to drive, and I really did enjoy spending the day with it. Please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Instagram at CarVisionLA. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.